With me right now, some motocross royalty, Cameron Steele, Ronnie Feist. Obviously, we are on the eve of X Games 15. Well, it's been going down here for a couple days. Just witnessed Best Trick. I just want to get your initial reactions from both you guys. We'll start with Ronnie.
Man, Best Trick is insane these days. It's crazy the level that contest is at, and I thought Travis Trick was insane, got really close with it. I think Bill Coe should have won personally. But, I mean, the progression of sport, front flips, double back flips, 720s, and just, body varials, it's insane right now.
Absolutely. Cameron?
No, I agree 100%. I mean, the sport has moved so far forward so fast, and, Travis Pastrana continues to be one of the guys that are pushing it to the forefront. I think a lot of people expected something new from Kyle Loza. I didn't even know this, but he was injured coming into the event or just prior, so he didn't do his big trick. I really thought that Bilko was in the spirit of the event, threw a new trick, something different, the downside Indian Air Can 360. I was hugely impressed, but traditionally the judges don't score the 360 that high. So am I surprised that Bilko didn't win? A little bit. Am I disappointed? I think both guys are huge innovators in the sport, and I think they both got their due rewards. I think it's funny, though, to mention that Todd Potter at one point thought about pulling out of the event because he didn't have a new big trick, even though his no-handed coffin backflip was sick. But, he gets on the podium once again, and Potter proves that he's got a lot of skill on a dirt bike, whether he's got something new or not.
It's an interesting point both you guys bring up, because if you want to push the sport, you obviously have to take it to new limits, do new tricks, and you saw guys attempting to do that. But at the same time, it almost felt like this year, as long as you landed something, there was a podium finish.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that in some cases, I think there's people out there that are, like Kyle Loza has spurred a whole new group of athletes, that are doing one trick. And in the past, in all honesty, Ronnie or myself or anybody, we may have clowned guys that were one-trick ponies, guys that had one trick. But now the Best Trick competition has become that. So you have guys that maybe are new, they haven't been to X Games, they don't realize how big the stage is, and they're not quite 100% prepared. There's crashes, they're pushing so hard. It's kind of a testament to how big they're going, as there's really not a lot of guys from the freestyle competition where there's 16 professional freestyle riders competing. Only 2 of those guys were in the Best Trick competition.
Ronnie, your militia teammate earlier tonight was very candid about his thoughts of, as Cameron mentioned before, the one-trick pony, the Scott Murrays of the world, and some of these guys, these YouTube wonders that show something on the video and then they get invited to X Games and then they can't execute. What's your thought on guys like that?
Well, I mean, you got to give people respect for trying to push the sport and stepping out, but I mean, there is a lot of guys that, put year after year work at, every single day, and there are the best guys in the world, and these guys are taking their spots. So, I mean, I don't know how you want to look at it. Like it's funny, the 2 guys from freestyle ended up both medaling too, so which was cool. So 7 out of 10 guys crashed, so most of the one-hit wonders crashed out. So you see the guys who put in the work are still getting the medal, so that's good.
Cameron, now with James Stewart in place doing his first X Games and Supermoto taking off, it almost seems like motocross is absolutely taking over X Games, and a lot of people will say that's how it should be because that's what's really bringing out the fans. What can you say from where you're standing in terms of motocross and what it's doing for X Games, and vice versa?
Well, I think for years, I mean, it's been 3 years now or so that we've been calling it the Moto X Games, as a joke. Back in '99 when the bikes first came to the pier in San Francisco, I think it was Metzger fired up his bike while another event was going on, and when the people heard the motorcycles, it was like a land rush of people running across the pier to get to where the motos were at. But to be honest with you, I think motorcycles and the motors in general do a lot for X Games, but at the same time, I mean, look at the progression and the things that Danny Way and Dave Mira and Chad Kagi and Kevin Robinson, I mean, these guys are OGs of the X Games, and their sports, BMX and skate, I mean, it's obvious that BMX, skate, and moto are the cornerstones of what we're doing in all of action sports. And I don't think the moto really overshadows any of the other sports, to be honest with you. I think everybody has their favorite. Some people like the moto, some people like the skateboarding. And I think they all work well together, and I think what's really cool is in the past maybe the athletes didn't get along so well. I mean, especially when the motos first came, they didn't get on with the BMX guys. Some of that was the militia guys having some fun with some people or whatever. But, Now I think it's everybody is really pushing the limits, and I think that there's no shortage of talent. So if you're asking me, are the motos bigger, better, and gnarlier? I think the risk factor had been bigger, badder, and gnarlier, but now with the mega ramp, the BMX and skate guys are taking the same kind of risk. So I think they're all going big together.
And well, thanks so much, guys. Your words are wisdom to the motocross world and X Games in general. Thanks so much, fellas. Enjoy.